Okay. Hi guys, my name is Okoye Chika, and I'm a JavaScript programmer. For those that are interested in learning how to program in JavaScript, here is a tutorial on JavaScript coding. You can learn JavaScript by watching the videos that I post on YouTube. Now, let's start. When you want to code on JavaScript, you create a file. Let's say you call the file any name. You can call it coding.html. Inside the coding.html, you set up your interface for HTML. HTML, open, you close the HTML. HTML close. You put your body open, and you close the body tag. You close the body tag for the HTML. Then on top of the HTML, you have the head. You open the head and you close the head. Then inside the head, you have the title. You can give it a title. Let's call it coding. You close the title. Then after the title, you have your CSS, which is type equals test/CSS. You close your CSS. That is, it is used to design your web page. Then inside the body tag, you create we are using internal JavaScript here. So you create your script file, script type equals test/JavaScript. Then you close your JavaScript, because we'll be coding inside here. Our coding will be inside this place. So now let us start our coding inside the body tag. You create a paragraph tag for the HTML or H1. You call it people. Entered. We close our H1 tag. We create a H2 and we call it 0. We close our H2. We close our H2 tag. Now, our H2, we'll give it an ID of paragraph dot L. We close it. Now, we want all the thing in the HTML page, we want it to appear at the center of the screen. We go to our CSS and do that. We write body, open a curly braces. We now write test align. We paste it in the center so that the people entered and the 0 will appear in the middle. Let's run this code. We'll run this code now. Good. It is in the center of our page because we have used CSS to do that. We have used CSS to do that. Now, this 0 now, how do we change this text, this 0 here? with our JavaScript. So let's do that now. How to change text, how to manipulate text of HTML using JavaScript. It has an ID. So what we do now is we do document dot get element by ID. We now write the ID, of which is the ID is paragraph dash L. Paragraph dash L dot inner text equals to 5. Now we run the code. Boom. You see we have changed it from 0 to 5 using our JavaScript. We have used JavaScript to change the appearance of HTML. Good. Let's move over to the next one. In JavaScript, there is what we call variable. And also, before we go over to that, look at this document.getElement by ID. You see that the first, we use capital letter for the first sentence, first word of a sentence. Document.getElement. The element starts with a capital letter, the E, then by the B starts with a capital letter, and the ID, the I starts with a capital letter. Dot inner, the inner, then the text, the T in the inner text starts with a capital letter. So this is known as camel case convention in JavaScript, where you start the first sentence of a word with a capital letter. So that is how JavaScript works. So you might be confused on this, but this is the document.getElement by ID. We specify the ID. This is the part that we want to affect using JavaScript. Then .inner text is how we affected it. The inner text, we want to change the inner text. So let's comment this code out now. Now let us create a variable using the let keyword. Let count equals 0. Now we have stored this 0. We have assigned this count a value of 0. So this 0 now, we have stored it in the count variable. So the count is holding the value of 0. For us to see the value of this count, what we do is we'll console log count. We run it inside our JavaScript tag. You see the value of 0 is showing. Good. Now note the let keyword can change. You can change the value assigned to any variable you declare to the let keyword. So the let keyword, the value is always dynamic. You can change it anytime. For instance, we say let count to be equal to 0. We don't say count equals count plus 1. We now console dot log count. When we console the log count, what do you think we'll get? We'll get what? 1, which is what? 0 plus 1 is what? 1. So JavaScript checks the latest value. It counts from up to down. So now it has taken the current value of this count and changed it to 1. So when we run the code, what we get here is 1. Can you see that we have 1 here? So this let keyword, the value, you can change the value. Unlike when you use const to create a variable, the value remains the same. You cannot change the value. The value remains the same. You cannot change the value. Let us run this one. You see, you get an error. Assignment to constant variable, which means that when you use the const keyword to declare a variable, you can't change the value. So let us stick with our let keyword for this programming. Good. Now we want to build a passenger counter app where we will count the number of people entering the subway. Let's do that in the next class. So for us to do this, we clean all this. We'll come here. And create a button. We'll call the button count. This button we called it on count. So inside the button we declare a HTML tag which is onClick. Inside the onClick we give it the name of the function we want it to be. So let's call it count. The count. Good. So now for us to grab hold of this 0 now, we'll store it in a variable. So we do let paragraph L be equal to document dot get element by ID. We name the ID. The ID is what? Paragraph L. So we'll copy the ID and paste it inside here. Now I've taken hold of this. I have control of this 0 now because I stored it in a variable. The variable is paragraph L. So let us declare another variable. Let count be equal to 0. So we create our function, and the name of the function will be what? Count, because the onClick, the value of the function we gave it is count inside the onClick, which is count. We create count. Open square bracket, curly bracket. We now say, look at count now. We now do count equals the old value, which is count plus 1. Then paragraph L dot, because we have taken control of this, we have stored it in a variable, so we now do paragraph L dot text content equals to what? For us to change the value, we want this 0 to be changing to number. So what we do now, we change it to what? To count, to the value of count. Let's run this code. Boom. See the count. When we press the okay, let's assign this function another value. Since the function and the keyword, they are bearing the same name, let's call it countdown. The function and keyword are bearing the same name, so they can't bear the same name. Countdown. Boom. We run our code, and yes, you see, we have taken control of this test now. So we'll stop here for now. If you like the video, just subscribe to my YouTube, and I will be posting more videos. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. I will be posting more videos on JavaScript.